Jonathan Swan, it's another stunning interview on your part. And it's almost Trumpian in that section in which you confront her with the facts. The fact is there wasn't any fraud in Georgia or Florida or Arizona. So it has nothing to do with the specifics of these laws. And the specific of the law in Georgia, the most egregious thing a lot of folks feel is to disempower who they're now Republicans, but the election officials who held the line against Donald Trump. It's stunning to me that she wants to lump them in together as solving different problems when what they all have in common is there were no problems. There was no voter fraud.
The reason this is such an important conversation is because Liz Cheney is fighting, taking a stand against Donald Trump and January 6th and saying that, we need to, that she's going to dedicate herself to opposing the quote unquote big lie that the election was stolen. The problem is, she sort of has put this issue into a silo, and she does not acknowledge what came before and what is coming after as being connected to it. So the fact that, and you raised it in your intro, the most important statistic is that 70% of Republican voters believe Joe Biden is illegitimate. And that didn't happen just because Donald Trump said a few things in 2020. This is the result of many years of the Republican Party talking about voter fraud, educating its electorate that this is a rampant problem, that people in the inner cities are voting 4 times, illegal immigrants, all these different things. That's the context. She doesn't acknowledge any linkage between that and what we're seeing right now. And then after the election, we're seeing, I think it's more than 400 now, voting bills that have been introduced in state legislatures around the country, 90% supported by Republicans, some of them supported in court by the Republican National Committee. Why is the Republican Party doing such a broad-scale effort if it was not something that they thought was in their self-interest and beneficial to them? It really beggars belief to sort of say that these things aren't connected.
And, Liz Cheney is, one, smart enough to know that there was no voter fraud, and 2, she's been around long enough to know that people like James Baker and Jimmy Carter looked at it in 2000 and didn't find any. She knows Ben Ginsburg personally. She knows that he's spoken out and written in the newspaper about how, Donald Trump is the only one who came close to committing voter fraud. Why is she fact immune? I mean, if you want to stake your career on rooting out the big lie, and she called it Donald Trump's crusade against democracy. The crusade against democracy is being carried out in the 47 states pushing voter suppression laws. She seems like she's going to lose all of her credibility on waging her own crusade against Donald Trump's assault on democracy.
Well, it did surprise me that she would not acknowledge any link between because there manifestly is. I mean, there's no way that you can plausibly argue that all of these state legislatures, Republican-controlled state legislatures, just out of a burst of spontaneous inspiration individually around the country, a flowering of concern at unprecedented levels, with no attachment whatsoever to the fact that the most powerful and influential Republican in the country has been telling everyone that there's voter fraud, and that some of these bills, some of them, not all of them, some of them have measures that are designed to deal with some of the problems that Trump has said exist. So it's really it's a bit of a stretch to try and divorce these two things.